Welcome to Hairblazers, the podcast where we share how you can disrupt the beauty industry, starting with your chair and your salon. Every week, we discuss topics ranging from higher-end stylists to the latest technology that will take your business to the next curve. My name is Colleen Lamarand. I'm the Director of Education for the Verde Salon Group in Canada.
I'm Naomi Breen. I am the Marketing Manager for the Aveda Institute Winnipeg and the Verde Salon Group.
And I am Roberto Sonopoli, owner of Verde Salon Group and the Aveda Institute Winnipeg.
And today we're your hosts. Today we're going to be answering the question, what is Hairblazers? And what difference will it make in my business? But first, I want to give you a chance to get to know us and our different perspectives a bit more. We have a combined 45 years of experience in the beauty industry, and we all came to it from different paths. Naomi, did you want to share first?
Yeah, sure. I can definitely kick us off. So as I mentioned, my name is Naomi Breen. My path to the beauty industry really started when I was in university. I was getting my Bachelor of Commerce and I was focusing on marketing. And I'd always really been interested in the industry and passionate about the industry for my whole life. And I decided that a really fun skill to pick up and to start doing while I was in school was to work as a makeup artist. So I became a certified makeup artist, and that was kind of how I first started dipping my toes into what the industry is all about. So I got that certification. I started doing some freelance work. And then after I finished school, I had my degree. I was all ready to go. I was excited to find somewhere to work. And I came across Verde. Like, there wasn't really a whole lot in our city, and I wanted to stay in Winnipeg where we are. There wasn't a whole lot in our city that was really related to like beauty or fashion or anything that I was like really passionate about or really interested in. And I came across Verde, and it was very like environment focused and very experienced and customer service focused, and obviously also like in the beauty industry focusing in hairstyling. So it really felt like a perfect fit for me. And you know, my role has changed so drastically since I first started. I first started as the marketing and operations manager way back in 2019 at this point.
Spent some time in frontline.
Yeah, spent some time at the front desk, spent some time cleaning up stations, definitely spent a lot of time sweeping floors, and I still do that if it's needed. And I really loved working with the team and getting to know the team in that way and getting to know our guests in that way. It gave me a lot of insight into the actual guest experience of people who are coming into our space, people, and into the psyche of people who are coming into a salon, which was really beneficial when we transitioned into, you know, bringing on the school as well and recruiting students for the school, because I had been able to spend so much time with all of our stylists and get to know like why they love the industry so much and why they really wanted to work with hair. And as well, just like marketing the salon, bringing in new guests, all of that as well. It's like it really helped to get to know the people who were actually coming in our door every single day, the people who wanted to be here and were spending their hard-earned money with us. It really was a blessing to be able to interact with them on a day-to-day level and get to meet them and hear their stories. I think it definitely has helped inform my work in marketing in a way that nothing else really could have. You know, there's no amount of like reading in a book that you can do that replaces that human interaction and that human touch. So it's been a really cool experience. Also, like when I first started, it was just me and I was kind of marketing and operations, and then I kind of quickly moved more so into just the marketing side, and then we took on the school as well. And then we've since brought on 2 additional members of the marketing team as well, and we do all the marketing, all the design, all the everything.
All in-house. All in-house.
Yeah, all in-house for the school, for the salon group, and it's been really fantastic. And I think that there's kind of a lot of different things that inform the work that I do, and it's been so great to work with all of you folks. But I know out of all of us, I have like, including when I was doing freelance makeup, about like 4 years in the industry, and you know, I definitely am the one who's contributing to the least to that. How many years of combined experience were we?
Now she's aging us.
45.
We're a little older than Naomi.
No, you have a wealth of knowledge, so Colleen, do you want to give us your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started when I was actually a buyer at a jewelry company. I don't know if you've heard the story before, but
And not in entirety, but I've heard a little bit of it.
yeah, so it was one of those jobs that you think is the thing you're going to do for the rest of your life. I went to university. I was getting a business degree, didn't quite finish it, but I was getting it. And I realized day to day that I wasn't overly happy. And I remember thinking back when I was taking business in school that I was working as an assistant at a hair salon and I loved it. And I don't know, there was not a part of me at that time that was like, well, this is an option for me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, well, why don't I try it? Like, why don't? Now's the time. Like,
Why isn't it an option?
Why isn't it an option?
Yeah.
And I think when I was really young, and I think now it still happens a little bit, that people who are graduating, it's like, go to university, get a business degree, become a doctor, those sorts of things. And trades aren't as kind of big up there. So I decided one day, you know what? I'm not overly happy with what I'm doing right now. I'm going to quit my job, sell my car. My mom took over my mortgage. Thank you, Mother. And I went back to hair school. And it was called Capelli Academy at the time. Roberto's family owned it, and his mom was my hair school teacher. And she really changed the way that not only I thought about the industry, but that all the people that I interacted with thought about the industry. So it went from being just like a trade, and you just you gossip and you cut hair, and it was one of those things where I wanted to use my business knowledge tied together with my creativity, and this was the place that I really got to do it. So I have done it all in my career. I worked as an educator for a few different companies. I rented a chair. I was at a commission salon. I worked on like hourly wage when I first came out of school, and having all of that knowledge has really helped get to a point where I know where different stylists are coming from. Like I know when they say, "Oh, I want to rent a chair," I'm like, "Oh, I know, the positives, the negatives of kind of all things." So I feel like I really have a lot of knowledge to give in that area. I also educated at the Aveda Institute, and that was one of the coolest years of my life. It showed me a different way of being a hairstylist. I feel like I already had like the root as far as being environmentally friendly and it being all about the experience for the guests, not necessarily just like the technical aspect. But that year really helped me grow as a stylist, like tenfold. So I worked as an educator for a bit, and then Roberta and I opened Verde Salon. I'll let you tell more of like the story behind Verde, but it's been over 5 years now. And I've kind of grown. I started 5 days behind the chair, and then it was 4 days behind the chair, and then I was doing more education. In the beginning, Roberto and I did operations, education, marketing,
everything under the sun.
We did absolutely everything, and we've been able to grow this amazing team. Now I'm happy to be able to be the director of education. I work 1 day behind the chair, which I absolutely love, would not want to give up. I love my guests, and it keeps me real. And the rest of the time, I get to help grow our other stylists and build our business, which is great. So Roberto, do you want to talk more about your...
Yeah, for sure. My journey's been a long one in the hair industry. I'm not a hairdresser by trade, so I did give that a whirl, but definitely did not work out for me. I thoroughly enjoy the business side of it, but I grew up in the salon. My mom had me when she was 21. My mom owned her own salon at that time, so I would spend days on end in the salon, and that was special. I was very fortunate. The environment, the atmosphere, the energy was very intoxicating, and I knew from a young age that I wanted to be involved in it. Went to school, did the university thing. That definitely did not work out for me. And I was very interested in business, and I knew I was most likely going to be an entrepreneur. My mom was an entrepreneur, my dad was, so it was kind of in my blood. So opened my first salon at the time was called In Style. It was quite a ride. Did very well, but as a leader, I was very inexperienced and had a lot of learning to do. So ended up selling. We had 2 salons at that time, sold both of them. Worked at the school while I was also a salon owner there. My mom had opened a school at that time, Rosina Sinopoli. Shout out to my mom.
She's wonderful.
She's wonderful, absolutely. So she had opened a school at the time, Capelli Academy, which Colleen attended. And that was just a whole new world for me. again, great energy. Watching students start from knowing absolutely nothing about hair to then growing, becoming professionals, opening their own salons. That was a very interesting path. So after I had sold the salons, I joined the school, partnered with my parents, family business, Capelli Academy. We had a location on Corden Avenue, which was quite small. Did you attend Corden Avenue? You
No.
were downtown.
I'm not
So
that
you,
old.
yeah. Okay, I am. Apparently I am. But yeah, no, we moved from Corden Avenue, moved to downtown in the Exchange District. Big move, went from like a 2,000 square foot location to a 10,000 square foot location. Um, Rode that out for a while, and then my parents decided that they were going to retire, and I had the opportunity then to purchase the business, partner with a distributor or a brand per se, and Veda really stood out for me. So I partnered with Ray Travello. I had the opportunity to work with Ray Travello in Caliga for Aveda, which was an amazing experience, very similar to yours. It really opened my eyes to a whole way of doing business and what the actual industry was all about. It wasn't just about technical, definitely a lot about guest experience, caring for our environment, being responsible when it came to performing our services, and that was amazing. I did know that my time there was going to be limited, unless I was willing to make a move to Toronto or a bigger city to continue with Collega. I was going to have to actually just do something different here on my own. The school was great. I loved it. Loved being the director. I was director of the Aveda Institute and partner. Loved that, but knew that there was something more for me. So in 2017, decided to branch out and open Verde Salon with Colleen. There were some really good times there. We spent the first 3 months working out of a Save On Foods, which is actually just behind us here. That was our office while the salon was being built. And during that time, we had the opportunity to really lock down what we wanted the salon to be, what it was going to look like, what it was going to feel like, what the culture was going to be like, the employees we wanted to hire, the way that we wanted to run the business. I had a lot of time to put thought into that, and opened in 2017. That was very challenging. Building a brand from the ground up was way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But we did it. We stayed very true to what our ideas were and ideologies were around what we wanted the business to be. Kind of pushed through the plateau of becoming profitable. And in 2020, we opened in the midst of COVID. We opened our second salon out in Seasons, which was amazing. And at that same time, we had the opportunity then to purchase back the Aveda Institute from Collega, which was an amazing opportunity. So we had the opportunity then to be back in the school business, still in the salon business, multi-location, and that's just been a wild ride. And here we are today. Doing our first podcast, which is just a blast.
Believe we're here.
Yeah, I've been talking podcasts for a long time. I'm not sure how long it's been now, but probably almost maybe since you started. I don't know. But making this reality today is pretty special. So thanks, guys, for being here. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to this.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is.
Every time we start something new, Rob is like, I've been talking about this for 2 years.
That's always the
But
case.
did you ever believe you'd be a host?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
Rob
not.
didn't even know we were going to be on camera today.
I did not know we were going to be on camera today,
But he looks great.
but it's great. Thank you.
So, really what we want to do with this podcast is change and disrupt this industry that we all love so much. So I want to start out by asking, if you could change any one thing about this industry, if you could snap your fingers and it'd be different tomorrow, what would that be? What would that look like?
I'll let you go first, Colleen.
Colleen?
All right. Oh, there's a few, but I'm gonna say the way that society as a whole looks at our industry, and I talk about this a lot because I think that our industry is one of the most unbelievable industries out there. It's not just the opportunity, the amount of money, and money absolutely is not everything, but I think that if people truly understood how much money is available to you in this industry, so many more people would go into it. It's one of those, hairstyling is one of those, I'm saying jobs, but it's a career where you make as much as you want, you get to make people feel amazing, and it's kind of like hanging out with people all day. That's how I think about it. Like when I see my guests, it's like, I get paid to do this?
Yeah.
Like, this is so much fun. And I feel like people, a lot of times on the outside, they are not understanding how much of like a business it is, and how much effort goes into not only, you're not just cutting hair, you're spending tons of money on education. Even just saying to someone, do you know how much education is to become a hairstylist? And when you bring out like the 14,000, 16,000, they cannot believe it. But it's like, for the amount of learning that you do and your potential, it is an unbelievable industry. So I really do wish that other people would give hairstylists more credit and understand we can be smart business people and we can be amazing at hair and be creative at the same time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my thought process was very similar. Just there's a lot of misconceptions about what we do, and what our industry is about. And I really do think that we're starting to move the needle on that. I think as a salon group, we've done a lot to make changes to that. As a school group, and not just ourselves, a lot of schools around the world, Winnipeg, Canada, and the U.S. have really started to make a push to really elevate the level of education. And the abilities of the students that are graduating. So they're going out and contributing in a much different way than they were, let's say, 20, 30 years ago. It's really great to see at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that comes to mind, because, that was one of the first things that came to my mind too, was like all of the misconceptions about the industry. People have this like extremely outdated, like, beauty school dropout from Greece idea of like what beauty school is, which is so wrong. And like, it's so crazy when you're actually like in it and you experience it. The way hairstyling is taught today is like absolutely nothing like what people think it is. It's so modernized and so elevated, and things have changed so much. And like, we have hairstylists who's like boyfriends, partners, husbands, like they're engineers or they work in tech, and like the hairstylists make more money than they do,
Love that.
I know. It's super cool to actually see it from the inside of the industry, because a lot of people on the outside don't realize how much has changed.
Would you say that your perception of the industry has changed since you started working with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's partially because of what we're doing. I think that in some ways there are some salons that are outdated, and those are definitely salons who, if they feel like they're being left behind, this is a great podcast to listen to. Just a little plug for ourselves right there. But it's like, there's salons that don't have a website, or they have a website, but it's like a one-pager, like there are salons out there that, whether it's because they don't have the resources, whether that's time, money, etc., they just haven't taken the time to take advantage of the technologies that are out there and connect with their guests and potential guests where they're going to be looking for them. So I think my perception has definitely changed. And I think that's in a big way due to being part of the school and seeing what the new generation that's coming up is learning, and also being part of the salon, because we always are pushing to take things to the next level, find where the opportunities are, find where things can be more efficient, and move forward with those. So definitely misconception is like a massive piece of it. But for me, aside from misconception, if I could change anything, I would say, if I could snap my fingers and like every salon in the industry would have a website, and like a good website,
Of course.
that
Of
would
course, a
honestly, and like, I'm not even like a web designer or a web builder. Like obviously I do lots of website stuff, but I'm not building things on the back end by any means. But it's like, all roads lead to Rome. All online channels lead to your website. Actually, if I can get even more specific with website, if all salons had online booking, because
I was going to bring that up. Absolutely.
Because probably, like a pretty close to half, or maybe even more than half, I haven't looked at the numbers exactly recently, but like a really, really large portion of our bookings come through when the salon is closed. And we have like pretty extended hours for a salon, I would say, but it's like, so many bookings come in when we're closed. And if you don't have online booking, or even if you have a system where it's like they can like request a booking or like email in to book, that's just extra steps that are in the way of that process actually being completed. And the more barriers you put in people's way, the less likely they are to do it. If I have the opportunity to go and book an appointment online, like whether it's for a massage or getting my nails done or anything, if I have the opportunity to book online, I'm probably going to do it over actually calling the business, because they might be closed. If, they might not.
For sure.
Let's be real. People don't really want to talk to people.
Yeah,
that much.
I mean, there are a few people who do want to
Yes.
talk to people, but for the most part, if you have a smartphone, you probably prefer to book online, which is like a very,
All day
very
long.
large
All day
proportion
long.
of the population. So like that's just such a massive thing that so many salons are missing, and that really, really surprises me. And obviously that's not what our that's not our main subject today, so I won't get.
Which we could definitely.
It's another
go into.
podcast.
I could go on. I could go on for another hour about this, but it's a really critical piece to making sure you're actually like maximizing your bookings, and like there's just so many cool things out there that can really help your brand and your business grow, and people are spending their time online, and it's important to meet them where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're not going to get too far into marketing today, but that was one piece that I had no idea the change it will make in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember, I'm sure it was Roberto who mentioned this, and it's like every business is actually a marketing business that just happens to sell a service or a product.
Yeah.
And when we started looking at our business that way and our company that way, that's when we took off like absolutely crazy.
Well, that's what I think it was about 2 years ago where we said we're a marketing company first. That's really our directive, is to be a great marketing company and then promote the services that we offer. I think that it's imperative that whether you have a marketing manager, a team of marketing people, or just yourself, that it's part of your day-to-day, it's part of your operations, that you're marketing on a regular basis, being really active, being conscious of it.
Yeah. I was just talking to our new talent this morning, and I was talking about, like one of the key metrics to obviously growing in general as a hairstylist is having guests in your chair. And what's the step that's before that? The step before that is social media. And the step before that is getting yourself online, making a name for yourself, creating a personal brand. All those things are so important, and people treat them as an afterthought, but in reality, and in so many cases, that comes before success.
Absolutely.
Sorry, one thing that I would like to add though to something we could change is for salon owners to understand that you are not alone in this process. Being a salon owner can be a very lonely place sometimes, and there's no doubt our industry is tough. It's a tough go. It's definitely not the type of industry you want to get into if you want to make easy money as an entrepreneur. That's definitely not the road. But there are so many resources, so many support systems, podcasts. Social is a huge outlet for support. Events, Serious Business being a really great one that's geared towards business, strictly business. People could just wrap their heads around the fact that they're not alone, and that there are many resources and opportunities out there to support yourself in business.
Absolutely. And our goal here with this podcast is really to be holistic. We're not just talking about technology. We're not just talking about one thing. We're talking about innovation and technology and transparency and ultimately people. This business is about people. And we want to empower people to disrupt the beauty industry with these discussions that we're going to be having. So for people who are listening, what impact is this podcast going to make? For people who take these concepts that we're going to be discussing, these ways of thinking, technology, whatever it is, and implement them, how is that going to affect their business and impact their business?
A lot. is the short answer. I mean, we probably have so many different parts of that, but I think number one, being willing to make those changes, even like the littlest thing to start that might feel huge, whether it's like online booking, just something different that you've kind of, if you say I've always done it this way, that's when you should really take a look and be like, you know what, maybe I should try something new. And worst case scenario is it doesn't work for you. You can always go back, but I really feel like failing forward is the way to go. If something doesn't work, you can move on to the next thing. But like just attempting even one thing, you'll see a huge change.
Failing forward. I love that. Absolutely. And I think that one thing that we are really going to help when we're impacting people who are going to be listening to these moving forward is just having like a mindset shift. For myself, one of the most valuable things in business and personally that I have experienced over the years, over time, is coming across something that shifts intrinsically the way that I'm experiencing and looking at a topic. whatever that topic is, being able to shift the way you're looking at something can really take away those barriers to taking action. If you're able to shift your mindset, then taking action is something that kind of follows that organically.
Yeah, my hope is that people listening will just find one thing that they can take from it. It doesn't have to be everything. Some of my best ideas, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot on social. Don't do a lot of reading. Should do more reading, but definitely not my forte. But everything I listen to is usually just one thing. It could be 5 seconds in the podcast that really stands out, that you take back and just spark something new that leads to something great. So you don't have to get overwhelmed. You don't have to implement everything that you're hearing. You don't have to try 10 new things. Just pick one thing that you want to focus on and do your best. Roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So we're really excited to explore a lot of common pain points that salons, schools, beauty professionals have in general, such as like getting new clients, keeping your profit margins, even down to little things like handling guest complaints or concerns. Every episode, we're also going to ask, how does this benefit you, the salon owner, the stylist, even the student who hasn't started their career yet? So you can focus on keeping your business running, and you can tune in here to find out how to keep it moving forward.
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you share this episode with your team and subscribe to become part of the Hairblazer community. So get out there and blaze the trail. Are we keeping that?
Sure, why not?
I knew Rob wouldn't like it.
Wow.
We can keep it with a laugh.
I could just hear
We're
Rob saying
blazing.
too
We're blazing.
cheesy.
It's okay. It's cheesy. It's okay. I'm willing to try it.
I felt weird saying it.
Yeah. I felt weird listening.